Okay, people, so, right, we're gonna look at the film Sisu. This is from Jalmari Helander, who wrote and directed. It is produced by Peter Jokaranta, executive produced by Mike Goodridge, Gregory Quanhan, and Antonio Salsa, with line production from Sikara Rotantine, Juri Sepa, and Tumas Wanatula took care of the music. Kejel Langaroos is on cinematography, with Ju Voralainen editing the piece. Right, Martin Ware was casting. Production design, we have Otsu Linalasku. Anna Vilpun is costume design. Yeah, let's go to the cast. I'm butchering man. Like, they're kind of all Scandinavian names, and this is extremely difficult. I mean, you know I'm shit at pronunciation, but yeah. Yeah, I'm struggling. I am struggling. Okay, so goddamn. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Aatami Korpi is played by Jorma Tommila. We have got Bruno Heldorf, played by Askil Henny. Wolf is played by Jack Doolan. Schultz is played by Omni Tommila. Roa is played by Artu Kapalan. The engineer played by Max Ovska. Right, our SS soldiers are played by Tatu Sinsalau, William Enkel, Vincent Wilstrand, Jonas Brilli, Nicholas Frankett, Kevin Frankett, Emily Francisi, Juicy Calla, Jarko Clementi, Henry Coljon, Pekka Lasko, Marty Nata Leninen, Jusua Uja, Petteri Papanin, Oskari Skaita. We then have got Mimosa Willamo as ANO. There is Sarah, played by Alina Sarella. The fighter pilot, played by Ika Kovula. The bank teller, played by Amu Milanov. I think that's it. Right, let's get. During the last desperate days of World War II, a solitary prospector crosses paths with Germans on a scorched earth retreat in northern Finland. When the Germans steal his gold, they quickly discover that they have just tangled with no ordinary miner. While there is no direct translation for the Finnish word Sisu, this legendary ex-commando will embody what Sisu means: a white-knuckled form of courage, an unimaginable determination in the face of overwhelming odds. And no matter what the Germans throw at him, the one-man dev's god will go to outrageous lengths to get his gold back, even if it means killing every last German in his path. So yeah, that's the film. Now, I tried to watch this when it first came out, but it was subtitled. And I was so vexed, man. Because I'd heard it was good, right? But yeah, it was just the subtitles and the way they were formatted, right? And the speed of everything. It was just like, it was just not going to work. But, right, just recently, where did I find it? I think the film came up on Netflix. And so, you know, Netflix is easy to see, like, the languages the film is in. So I just had a quick little look and saw that the version on Netflix, it was dubbed. So I'm like, okay, it's great. You know what I mean? I can't think of what I was just trying. But yeah, great. So I checked it out. And this is a, you know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's nutty. It's, you know, the shit's going down that is just like, I mean, come on, what are we saying? Like, that's not happening, right? But there is this gleeful satisfaction in a lot of the events, right? Because we have this guy, and there's all this text at the beginning basically saying that he'd kind of was a soldier and he'd left because he'd got tired of war. So now he's out there prospecting, right? And we see him, you know, basically looking for gold, right? And he's got all his gear and he finds a little rock and then he finds a bigger vein and it's just like awesome. You know what I mean? So he's packed it in his bag and he's gone. He's walking and we see him go past a group of Nazis on the road and they leave him, right? Which I kind of was just like, yeah, I buy it, right? Just because, you know, you had some that wanted to kill him, but then they're just like, yeah, he's going to die where he's going, so fuck it, right? So then we see that, but then he bumps into these other group, and that's when it all goes crazy, right? Because they want to take his gold, and he ain't having it, right? So we see, we see him go off a bit like a Finnish John Wick, right? So he gets rid of these, and it just then sparks all the events. Right? And the thing with this as well, right? When we see him walk past the Nazis at the beginning, he does walk past a truck full of girls, right? And I think, yeah, they look out, so he sees they're there, but he's not looking to help, right? He's just looking to do him, to go about his day, minding his business. And I respected that. Because I think a lot of times we see these films and people are trying to act like the hero from the jump. And it's just like, we know people ain't like that, right? It's like when you have those bits in films and someone's like, you go, I'll stay here and die. And it's just like, no one is letting everyone else live and they're just going to bite the bullet. Like, the only time someone's probably going to stick around is if they're dying, right? If they've got a terminal illness, then they might. But even then, people want to grasp onto life as long as they can. Right? So we see these unbelievable premises a lot of the time. So it was kind of refreshing seeing the start of this film. Right? Now, I think that's probably the most realistic shit that we do see. Then it all, as I said, it kind of goes bonkers. And we have him on this, like, just spree, taking care of people. And some of the things that go down, right? Like, there's a bit where he's holding a bin lid. I'm not quite sure where the fuck he got it, but he's holding this bin lid. Maybe it's not a bin lid, right? But whatever he's holding, it's not stopping bullets, right? But in this instance, he's using it as a shield to stop bullets. And you're just like, wait, what? What are we saying? Come on, man. Like, this is nuts, right? So we just have things like that happening. But, you know, I think after, like, you know, the first 30 minutes, you realize there's certain things that they've done to capture the tone. Like, it has a feel like this is, you know, 1942. 1942? I forget the year. But it feels like it's towards the end of that First World War, right? It has that kind of vibe to it. It looks grimy, it looks dirty, and just all of this kind of thing. So they've given it that aesthetic, right? So they've captured all of these things and they've done it well, right? Just, you know, Sisu himself. And what I thought was good, because you get a bit where he's kind of cleaning his wounds and stuff. So they don't have it where he's got like an 8-pack and just all of these muscles that the only way you're getting them is, you know, if you're in a gym working out. Like, they're not functional muscles, right? So they made him look like someone, because he looked, you know, healthy for an older guy, because that's what he is, an older guy. So all of these things work to sell you on this idea. But yeah, after all of that, you know what I mean? It goes crazy. Because yeah, we have like throwing a landmine. I don't think you're throwing a landmine, right? I don't think that actually works. I think it's blowing up the minute you fucking pick it up. Right? So we have certain things, so you're just like, hold on a second. No, that makes no sense. Right? But as I said, I think after, you know, the first half an hour-ish, you're either fine to, you know, let the ridiculous flow over you, or you're turning the film off. Right? It is one of those. But I was happy to vibe with it, right? Just because I kind of figured, I think after watching John Wick and liking John Wick, right? You're like, okay, some of these action-y films, and it's kind of like all the stuff we watched in the 80s. I mean, if you were around, right? If you were watching shit in the 80s, it's, you know, the action wasn't necessarily realistic. The fights weren't realistic, but they were visceral, right? There was this kinetic energy about it all. And that allowed you to kind of immerse yourself in the ridiculousness and just enjoy it. You know, and I think sometimes you watch these things and they're trying to be way too serious, right? It was like the Total Recall sequel, not sequel, the remake, right, with Colin Farrell, tried to be mad serious, and it just didn't work, right? So that's why this was fun. You know, it's like Starship Troopers. It's ridiculous. It's stupid, but it's fun as fuck. And Sisu is fun as fuck. Because then you have these moments where you're like, I want that person to, and they get it, right? But in a way that makes you go, yes. Oh, shit. Yeah, you go. Let's do it. It's like that. Right? You remember in like Avengers Endgame when suddenly all the you know, the heroes turn up and they start walking down and you're like, yeah, we had those kind of moments especially at the end of this, right? I'm not gonna spoil it, but you have this thing because you're hoping, right, before all like this scene happened. I'm like, you kind of want to come now and deal out some shit, and then you see them and you're like, okay, awesome, right? But it's silly, it's dumb, but it works as an actioner, right? It works as this balls to the wall action flick that is just about this visceral emotion, right? This hunt for revenge, for, you know, putting people down that try to fuck with you, right? All of these things work. Like the kind of guttural Finnish music that they're using, you know, just all of that stuff, the blood, the guts, just all of this, you know? Like, I was watching and thinking, how the fuck is my man finding his dog? Right? It's just like, hold on. I swear they left dog some other place. Like, how come the fucking dog is here? You know? But yeah, Sisu is not realistic at all when you look at a lot of the things that go down. But as I said, it captures the vibe, right? It gives you that aesthetic ambience. You know, it feels like a war film. You know, I think with this, if you liked Nobody, if you liked John Wick, if you liked Inglourious Bastards, because this is basically kind of like that, right? Because it's taking this scenario that didn't happen, but you kind of wish it had, and it's giving you that, right? A bit like, you know, the end of Once Upon a Time in... Wait, what's that? The Tarantino? It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think. That was it, right? So if you liked those films, people, if those all worked for you, then I think you're going to enjoy Sisu.